Anyone else in the state of North Carolina just get hit with a 38% increase on your homeowners insurance?
Auto insurance rates keep going up. In fact, they've gone up 36% since January of 2020, according to the data released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Insurance companies are watching you through social media.
So today we're going to dive deeper into a topic that's come up many times on this channel, and that is the wild increase in cost of insurance. Homeowner insurance, car insurance, health insurance, you name it. It has gone up drastically just in the past couple years. And with the overall cost of living forcing many people to live paycheck to paycheck, people are really struggling when these increased bills start showing up. We have a lot of different examples to go over today, so it might feel like we're a little all over the place. We also have comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just jump right into it.
All right, I'm going to go on a quick rant real quickly about homeowners insurance. I'm getting in my truck, so bear with me. So I want to see if anybody else is experiencing this. So last year, my homeowners insurance for the year was $3,018. Okay. Year before that, it was $2,600. Year before that, $2,200. Year before that, $2,100. I've owned this house for 4 years. So it's went from $2,100 4 years ago to I just got my renewal quote. Remember, 2024 was $3,018. This year, my homeowner's insurance is over $6,000. No claims in the last 4 years. I've never had a claim against the house I'm living in now. But my insurance just doubled. Homeowners insurance doubled year over year with no claims.
So overall tripling within the past 4 years with 0 claims. That's going to be very common throughout this video. And doubling within the past year by itself sounds absolutely ludicrous. We go right over to the comments. Property taxes are jumping up too. My mortgage payment is tied into insurance and taxes, which now makes up over half of my mortgage payment. Feels like I'm being pushed out of my home. We saw an example of exactly that in a previous video. A woman in Louisiana had such high homeowners insurance and increased taxes that she couldn't afford her home that she was in for decades and had to leave. She could afford the fixed rate mortgage payment, but everything else around it was drowning her. States are approving the increases. Yep, and they pay nothing when something happens. We'll see examples of that as well later. If you pay attention, they're trying to price everyone out of their homes, land, vehicle, food, water, utilities, etc. Slowly inching closer and closer to you'll own nothing and be happy. We also have a comment from you guys. My house insurance went up almost 40% just in the last month. We had to increase our deductible to $5,000 to reduce the increase just to 13%. And if we look at the increase from 2023 to now, without the deductible change, it's almost 63% increase in 2 years. And just like the previous comment said, all for one day do you actually use it and put in a claim, and they'll deny it anyway, and you're completely screwed.
So I went and called and got some insurance quotes for my car today, and I noticed they were like abnormally higher than what I've currently been paying. I'm like, well, you drive a lot. I never told you how much I drive, which I've done a lot of driving in the beginning part of the year. And they're like, well, you know, when you go to the dealership and you get oil changes, because my car's still under warranty, because I will get it done while it's under warranty. They're like, yeah, well, the dealership logs your mileage and we can see that. Of course you can. Y'all know everything. Everything. What don't you know?
So not only are the dealerships taking your data and helping the insurance companies, this is happening a lot in general with modern cars that have GPSs on them 24/7. You can be tracked, and it's just yet another excuse to increase your insurance on what looks to be a new car. However, it is a Toyota Prius. It's not like he's driving around in a $100,000 Mercedes that's super expensive. I'm also not saying that a new Prius is relatively cheap, anywhere from about $30,000 to $35,000, but in comparison to some super expensive SUV, right? Doesn't matter though, they're going to track you and use every excuse in the book. Some of the comments and the rates don't go down yearly, even though all of my car's values are decreasing yearly. Also, apparently Life 360 sells all of our data to insurance companies too. Who doesn't nowadays? I asked my insurance the other month if there was any way we could lower my bill due to my low mileage per year. I got back the response that I drove too many miles a month to qualify for any discounts. My daily commute is a 5-mile round trip. This one's going to be a rough video, but we could keep going on to the fact that they're spying and watching everything that you do with this clip.
Insurance companies are watching you through social media. I started my day earlier by reading a new client denial, and it was entirely about social media surveillance. So what I'm talking about today is how insurance companies are using social media to deny disability claims. They don't just look at Facebook and Instagram. They're digging into websites you probably didn't think of, like Venmo, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and they're even doing Google searches. They're looking for pictures of dinner. They're looking at photos where your friends may have tagged you from several years ago, and they will use it against you.
How is this even legal? Sorry, you have to suffer 100% of the time, otherwise we don't believe you. Because I understand if you say that you're on disability and you can't walk and then out of nowhere you're on a vacation and you look completely fine, obviously you're lying. But apparently if you go out to eat and took a picture of the food that you ate, apparently that means you shouldn't be on disability in the insurance's eyes. Another comment very similar, so if a disabled person gets taken on a family vacation or their loved ones take them out to a nice dinner, they could be denied. I saw this coming. I stopped sharing my life on social media in 2019. This is kind of similar to what I put up on my second channel of people getting fired because of their TikToks. It's much more of a cut and dry video compared to this example. While people are filming at their 9 to 5 on the clock, showing their coworkers their name, where they work, a lot of confidential information that you shouldn't be sharing. But either way, it still shows that everybody is watching what you're doing now. And here's just one of the examples of the recent increases.
Auto insurance rates keep going up. In fact, they've gone up 36% since January of 2020, according to the data released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And although that 36% increase definitely sounds bad, it's even worse when you consider that 20% of that was just in the last year. And judging by the data, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing the rates come down anytime soon either. As of now, according to Bankrate, the average cost of full coverage car insurance in the United States is $2,544 per year, while minimum coverage is $740 per year. Breaking that down monthly, it's $212 for $64. But why? Why is auto insurance going up so high? Well, the answer is a lot simpler than you might think. For starters, auto insurance rates started rising dramatically as the price of vehicles went up. But what made it so much worse was that while vehicles went up, many people decided to repair their vehicles instead of replacing them. And that caused a rise in demand for parts and an increase in labor rates as well as part shortages, which means insurance has to go up to cover those costs.
It's legally required for everyone on the road. How convenient that they have to raise it, right? Insurance rates keep going up, but the value of my car keeps going down. I think it's because the CEO pay has gone up more than the parts. They have a very good point there. $330 a month for a 4Runner and a Tundra. 0 tickets since I was a teenager. This was sub $200 at the beginning of 2023. I'd still say $330 a month for 2 vehicles is a decent deal right now. As we're going to see in a second, people are paying way more, but even that was under $200 in 2023. It's gone up 50% for them. Another comment here, they wanted to increase my car insurance last year from $587 to $1267. I've never had a claim or an accident and have been driving for a quarter of a century. I asked why. They said due to other drivers and natural disasters in your area. So now you're getting punished because of the people around you. I just don't understand. How is this allowed?
Why are insurance companies a scam? I just got off the phone with AAA and they said if I wanted to get my own insurance for a Tesla, it'd be $840 minimum a month. That and the monthly payment, I was like, I might as well just get an M3. I said, hell no. And then if I were to put it under my parents' name, it'd be only $200, $220. That is just wild to me. We need to get our get back on these insurance companies for scamming all these people, or at least give some money back at the end of the year if nothing happens. Like, this is ridiculous.
Okay, so a couple things with this video. He does look like a younger driver, and I have seen instances that electric vehicles can have very high insurance, but $840 a month seems absolutely wild. Some of the comments, mine was $680 and I got it down to $4 something. You have to shop around, you'll get something for around $300. On the contrary to the high EV insurance, I have a Tesla Model 3 Performance 2025 and pay $170 a month with Tesla insurance, and I'm 24 years old. So it seems like he's getting royally screwed by his insurance company. Another one up on screen now. What do you guys pay for car insurance? I feel like mine is so high. I pay $435 every month. Mine is $97 a month. What in the world are you driving? A 2025 Honda Civic Sport Hybrid. Again, a brand new vehicle, but it is a Honda Civic. They're not driving around in a brand new 5 Series. $87 for a 22 Bronco. How are you paying so much? And then right after that says, $720, $750, $600, and I'm freshly 16. I pay $80 every month. I mean, wildly different comments we're getting. $170 full coverage on a 2025 Civic Sport Hybrid at 19 years old, the same vehicle. $698 for a 25 RAV4. I'm 20 years old. $355 and a young driver. $350 a month, but had to do a $650 down payment on the insurance. Every one of the comments from these sections are wildly different. Here's another one. I got into 2 no-fault wrecks in March, and my insurance went from $264 to $571. Not her fault, but it doesn't matter in the insurance company's eyes. Insurance is the only product I know that you get penalized for both not having it and using it. Couldn't have said it better myself. I sell insurance. It absolutely goes up for not at fault accidents with the laughing emoji. Well, obviously, but I don't think it's fair. It's not like she caused the accidents. Car insurance and health insurance, the 2 biggest scams. So I'm forced to buy it? Correct. And if I use this product, the price doubles? Correct. Okay, but if I go 20 years without a claim, I get all the money back? Absolutely not. Sounds like a scam if I've ever heard one. Another comment from you, my insurance increased like crazy also. They use the excuse the number of claims have increased, yet I have no claims. It's a joke. You're paying for other people now. And going back to accidents not being your fault, these shady companies will still try to find an excuse to have you at somewhat fault, so then they could charge you even more money.
I am always astounded by the insane positions that insurance companies will take. Here's the one that's got me like crashing out today. I have a client who comes to a full stop at a red light, does what they're supposed to do, waits for the light to turn green, enters the intersection, and then is involved in a crash with a big straight truck that is coming across from his left and runs a red light. And we know that is what happened because the police officer who investigated the crash noticed that this is rare in South Carolina, but there were actually cameras up on the pole. I talk to the insurance company, and the insurance company tells me, we are putting 25% fault on your client. Okay? My client, by the way, goes to the emergency room, goes to the ICU, has very severe injuries. And the insurance company is telling me for every $100 of medical bills your client has incurred, we're only going to offer $75, right? We're putting 25% of the blame on your client. Why? Because he didn't look out enough for somebody running a red light.
I didn't know that we were all supposed to have 360-degree vision. You were still somehow a little bit at fault because somebody blew a red light and hit into you when you did nothing wrong. And the first comment from this clip won't even help. I'm gonna get a dash cam. This is getting crazy. It wouldn't have mattered in this situation. There was already cameras at the intersection. The police saw. And these companies are still shady enough to put some fault towards you. Threaten litigation early to save time. They're always bluffing. And there's nothing we could do with these companies. I'm actually way more riled up in this video than I thought I'd be, and we're not even halfway through some of the examples that I found.
Today I decided to finally check my mail before I went into work and tell me how I have a piece of mail from my insurance company. My insurance company, by the way, is Liberty Mutual. That's what I've been using for the past like 2 or 3 years. On this mailer that they sent out, they said that all premiums, once the renewal happens, are going up 25%. Maybe this is a sign for me to shop around and see what else is out there, but this is absolutely crazy. What I've been telling so many of you guys, it's almost harder to get insurance than actually getting an approval on a car. When you go in to get a car loan, pay stub, run your credit, boom, approval. But for insurance, they want freaking $1,500 down to start a policy, or they need driving history to see if you're capable of being on the road. It's just crazy. Insurance has also been one of my biggest deal killers. Customer loves the car, they agree on payment, we're good to go on all the terms, but then when they go to get an insurance quote, because they're first-time drivers, policy's $1,500 due today.
And could also double the overall payment if you're talking about the car with the insurance. Just like the $840 a month for a Tesla in that earlier example. Wow.
Anyone else in the state of North Carolina just get hit with a 38% increase on your homeowners insurance? Yeah, apparently that's not bad compared to what the state approved 42% premium increases for people living in the state of North Carolina. Y'all, all insurance companies can go right off because this is backwards. This is, I am like death by taxes and insurance. I spend more money on taxes and insurance than I do any other thing in the entire budget of my entire family. 38% increase in my annual premium for my home, and I haven't had a claim. Those insurance companies can go right off.
It's basically like we're watching the same clip just talked about by different people. Wild increases in such a short period of time with no claims. Doesn't matter, you're still screwed. Can't even afford home insurance, but my electric bill was $550. Look at what North Carolina just did to power bills for residential customers too. Don't forget our car insurance. It's all insurance. Health, car, homeowners, all of it is highway robbery. Another comment from you guys, my mortgage went from $1,350 to $1,750, and all of the $4,800 of those dollars was an increase in insurance in Louisiana. The amount of similar examples that I found online are absolutely unreal.
And right now, the reason why I'm jabbering about it again is because I just learned that Ben Askren, who has been fighting for his life for the better part of a month and some change, is now needing a double lung transplant, which is a very expensive procedure, and has been denied by his health insurance. So now his family has had to resort to crowdfunding to try and get the funds together to pay for this life-saving procedure that is medically necessary for him to continue living. What do you pay health insurance for if it won't try and cover you in a life-saving procedure? It is a scam. Its entire business model relies on finding ways of denying you coverage so they can save money on the bottom line while milking you dry your whole life as you pay these premiums to them. It is disgusting.
They would rather literally see you die. Health insurance shouldn't be allowed to deny operations that are life-saving. I agree. Health insurance is extremely disgusting. Honestly, the whole healthcare corporate system is as well. And that's a good transition right into the next clip.
I was quoted by a dentist in the US $4,500 for work that I needed done on my teeth. And I said, F that, I will be going to Mexico. So I found a dentist in Tijuana. I sent them what my US dentist told me that I needed. They quoted me about $800 for those services. I said, done. So today I went down to Tijuana for a few hours. I had them do an in-person evaluation. They decided I didn't need half the that the dentist in the US said, one of them being a deep cleaning. And when I asked the US dentist if I absolutely needed the deep cleaning or if I could just do a regular cleaning, they said, it's beyond the point of regular cleanings and I can only get a deep cleaning now. The dentist in Mexico didn't really agree with that. And my services ended up being $235. Again, I was quoted $4,500 in the US.
The deep cleaning they really wanted was of your bank account.
If you want to know what American healthcare is like in a nutshell, here it is. I have 2 ingrown toenails and I can only get 1 removed because my insurance, quote, only covers 1 toe a day. Quote, 1 toe a day. Why?
My dental doesn't cover root canals, but they cover extractions. I've had my teeth removed from my skull, important adult chewing teeth, because I didn't have $1,500 for the root canal. I had a college teacher whose eyelids drooped into her field of vision. Insurance only covered 1 eye because she only needs 1 eye to see.
Not me having a mental breakdown in the parking lot at work because I just had to tell a patient that his insurance premiums are going from $160 a month to $580 a month, with an $8,200 deductible.
Who do you think's going to be able to afford any of that? Obviously not any normal middle-class people. I don't know what to say. I guess we should just move on to the subsection of State Farm in this video because I found a good amount of clips talking about that company alone.
State Farm is defending its plan to raise homeowners insurance rates by 27%. Stephanie Wade is in the newsroom now, and this rate hike impacts more than 1 million people in Illinois. Stephanie.
It does, Tanya. The largest home insurer in Illinois defending the looming rate hike this morning that will impact 1.5 million State Farm customers, raising homeowners insurance rates by a whopping 27% beginning August 15th. The Bloomington-based insurer is citing more extreme weather like wind, hail, and tornadoes, plus the rising repair costs from inflation for one of the largest hikes in state history.
However, when we specifically go over and take a look at State Farms, there are many videos and comments like this, raising rates and they still won't pay out claims. But honey, think of the shareholders. That's all that these companies care about at the end of the day.
Which insurance company fights the hardest not to pay?
I'm gonna go State Farm.
Liberty Mutual.
State Farm. I feel like it's buried over the years, but here recently, State Farm has been a nightmare and driving me crazy.
State Farm. I would say State Farm.
can confirm, like a bad neighbor, State Farm don't care. Me freaking out having State Farm? All insurance is fraud, all of them. State Farm will spend $80,000 on litigation to avoid paying the insured $50,000. And here we could go a little bit deeper into another example.
My parents' house exploded in a gas explosion, and State Farm has made their life a living hell since day one. But one of the worst things State Farm has done took place this week, over 2 years since the explosion took place. So in my parents' contract, it says they have 2 years since the date of the incident to replace all the items in their home and get reimbursed. But it took State Farm over 2 years to prove the claim in the first place. And now State Farm is claiming that they don't have to pay my parents a single cent to replace the items in their home because it took over 2 years for my parents to do so. That's not my parents' fault. They didn't see a cent of money from State Farm for over 2 years. And now State Farm, I guess, just gets to get away with not paying out their claim. So this should scare you if you have a State Farm insurance policy. And yeah, sucks.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to say anymore. This video is draining me because I feel like this is way different than watching people make bad financial decisions, because overall it is their choice and they can turn their life around. But as we've seen with the car insurance, you have no choice in the matter, and all you're getting is a worse and worse deal as we move on in life. I truly don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now.
Homeowners insurance in the U.S. is increasing at an alarming rate. This recent report was just released about the top 10 insurers in the U.S. and their rate increases over the last 6 years. For the second year in a row, rates have increased in double digits. You can see at the top of this list is American Family Insurance with a 16.5% rate increase over 2023. Why is this important? Because this affects homeowners and home buyers alike. When owning a home, affordability is typically the number one factor. Over the last couple years, home ownership has become more difficult to achieve because of two things: interest rates and high home prices. Now there's a huge third factor, which is homeowners insurance. Every single year, homeowners insurance is dramatically increasing.
Adds into the fact again that you will own nothing and be happy. You'll be a renter of everything in your life until the day you die. Just opened up my escrow analysis to find out that there's a shortage of $3,850 due to the insurance shooting up. I'm so mad. The creator responded, had this happen as well. Payment went up $400 a month. We went over this as well in a previous video. We had Progressive in 2023. It was $1,700. Just got our renewal for 2025. $4,400. It's crazy how many of these stories I keep hearing. I could probably make this an entire series on my channel, but I don't think I could handle it.
This is why people are frustrated and, quite frankly, pissed off about insurance. I'm at the urgent care today to get a sports physical for my son to play football this season, and there's a mother checking out from a sick visit with her child, and they charge her $200, and she says, wait a minute, I was told it was $150. And she said, oh, that's the cash price, but you have insurance, and we've got to charge you the insurance price. And the mom said, well, just ring it up. I'll just pay out of pocket with cash. And I said, no, we can't, because Blue Cross requires us, if you've got insurance, we've got to run it through Blue Cross. And the mom said, well, that's not fair. And I have insurance. I should be getting a better price, right? And she said, no, if we charge you a cash price, Blue Cross will take us out of their network, so we've got to charge the Blue Cross price. And that just seems asinine to me.
This legitimately sounds like a mafia. You absolutely have to pay with your insurance here. If not, then we'll be out of the loop with that company, even though the customer is getting a obviously worse deal. All insurance companies are criminal organizations. Health insurance is the biggest, most known, and longest running scam ever. Every insurance company in the US ought to be investigated for fraud. I work at a hospital, and this is 100% true. Most people with insurance will pay way more than the self-pay folks. Insurance is a scam. We have to go through the ringer just to get a life-saving medication approved for our patients. Again, they would literally let you die. But we'll end this video off with at least some advice for one section of insurance, with a comment from you guys along with a clip. I was dumb and didn't reach out to lower my car insurance in 5 years. Weird thing is, it increased on the 4th year with the same plan and the same original provider. No accidents again, and I own my 2016 Ford Fusion with no tickets. Once I reached out and threatened to leave, they lowered my bill by $200 every 6 months. I pay in full for 6 months. It was around $650 and now it's $435. Ridiculous that companies think that they can increase the price hoping you don't notice just because you've never tried to reduce it. It's like having a full-time job for 10 years and never asking for a raise. And that's a good transition into the final clip.
I don't know what car insurance you have. I personally have Progressive. The way that I get a cheaper quote every single time after my 6 months is up is I just every single time go to the Progressive website, boop, 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 plug in all my information again. Yes, it takes a few minutes of my time instead of automatically accepting their renewal fee. And then almost every single time it's $100 to $150 cheaper every single time, sometimes even more. And I've had quite a few friends who can attest to this and say the exact same thing. So if you always auto renew, don't. Just plug it into the website and get their quote, and then do that with like an agent or something, but you will save money, I promise.
So I mean, in conclusion, there's not much advice that I could give you because these horror stories that we went over just got worse and worse. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.